Okay guys, we're gonna go ahead and replace these headlights, which are very old. I've been cleaning these things up every probably 3 or 4 months with melamine and headlight sealant, and basically right now I'm tired of them and I decided to go and check how much a replacement version of it costs. So I bought a replacement head unit or headlight assembly online, and voila, brand spanking new with that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this and replace that guy. It's the original equipment. I'll probably take it off, polish it on with a real buffing off on a table and buff it. But I think I'd rather have a new headlamp unit and see how it looks. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and do it right now. What I'm gonna go ahead and do as an overview is to remove the bumper, remove the headlight unit by removing this top panel. Basically taking off this rivet, removing that, and then taking off this bumper by removing the 2 screws right next to the front tires. There's a tiny little screw slot right there. We'll remove those those screws as well. And then on the bottom, we're gonna basically now take out a lot of these plastic rivets that are on the bottom holding the, where are you, my camera? These little plastic rivets, and there's also a few bolts as well that go underneath the car. So these rivets, we're gonna take those out as well. I replace them because they're pretty brittle, I'm sure, and probably there's a few 10mm bolts that go on there too to hold the bumper up. So this should be fun. Let's go ahead and do it. After we take out the bumper, these headlights have, I think there's 4 places where they have bolts that bolt on. So we have 1, 2. Where's the other one? Well, anyways, there's 4 locations where they mount, but we'll take a look at that a little later. But this should be fun. Okay, let's get going. Start taking out these plastic nylon rivets, and just have your pry tool, or you're going to use a screwdriver. Just be really careful because they are brittle. But yeah, they're quality stuff. So that's weird. That one isn't. Take all these off. Oh, that one fell down. We'll have to find it later. Don't worry, once we take off the and these just pop off. They're not the other type, but it's connected. So we'll put this all in a safe low space right there. But yeah, after you take off this section, just loosen these guys and they come off. Okay, now with those things off, you can just take off, slide this shroud off real fast. Slide out and oof, wow, look at that. Bugs! Lots of bugs. Shroud off. And look at those bugs that got stuck here. Ladybug, fly, and moths. Yeah, and other little flies and stuff. Good to know that, we had bugs. Ha ha ha. But yeah, a lot of drive. I'm sure there's a lot more bugs stuck in there in the bumper. We'll see more later. If you go underneath, right, you're gonna see a couple of things holding the bumper in. You have these guys, you have these guys, and all the way down, all of those. So just take those all off, and let's make sure this thing comes off. Then later we'll probably do the oil change and transmission change, but yeah, we'll get that later. Let's do the easy, not dirty stuff out first. Yeah, I think you have to remove these bolts too. They're using a hex nut there, a hex bolt. So we'll go ahead and remove those as well. Just remove the bumper. remove it on both sides. Basically holds this part of the bumper on. So removing that, we remove the screws on the side, we remove the rivets. So we're gonna work on both of them. Also gonna remove that one as well. So we'll put it down there. Let's put this guy, get this one out as well. I'm not sure which one this is, but I'm pretty sure it's probably a 5mm Allen wrench. That's done. Okay. Okay, let's start pulling this thing off. Of course, safety is one of the things, but everything is not lodged or anything. This is loose. That's good. And let's start from one side and slowly pull. Ooh, wow. It's really easy to pull out. Just waiting. Let's do this side too. Wiggle. Wiggle. And we should probably put something on the bottom so it doesn't scratch. I'm just going to walk it off. That's it. So that's about it. Take the whole bumper off. I'm going to go to the side now. So we get to. This is actually a lot easier than the cord when I was doing the cord one. The cord actually had a lot more clips. Put that to the side. And let's take a look at the bugs. Look at that bug. Look at that bug. Huge dragonfly got stuck there at the thing. Also these guys stuck on the condenser. But yeah, this car has 180,000 something miles, and it's pretty interesting what how bugs that got caught. And also I'm looking at the old hardware and stuff. At the same time looking at all these weird crevices that we have. But now that it's taken out, yeah, it's actually pretty simple to take off the bumper for a Civic. Okay, let's take out the headlights. For the headlights, we have to remove this screw, or that bolt, I mean. That bolt, just looking around this real fast, it looks like there's another bolt here. There's 2 bolts for now. I'm sure there's more. But let's take off those 2 bolts, and I'm sure there's a bolt holding this, this frame onto it. So let's do that. Oh yeah, let's do this. Should be one more that's on the frame here. Let's see if we can get 2 of them. Take off that subframe. Let's see if I have a extender. Might save some time here. And I do have an extender. I'm kind of glad this one has is this bolted onto that subframe. Hopefully we don't have to take off that subframe. It's an extra piece of work that I don't really want to deal with. If you want to see, from my perspective, what I'm taking off is this bolt underneath it. Where are you? You can see where my wrench is going. There's that one bolt holding it. I'm glad I could reach it underneath the bumper area. This 10mm bolt. That's what I'm doing right now. On the Accord, you actually have to take off that subframe to do it. But this one, you actually can access it. I think on that side too, we can actually do the same thing. We'll just access it through that. Sounds good. So I'm going to finish this up and I'll record later. You have to actually remove this subframe too. So to remove that subframe, you have to get to a bolt that's behind that's holding the housing and going to that subframe that's bolted to the frame. So you have to actually get in there pretty deep to screw off that that one bolt. Just FYI. I was trying to loosen it and just wiggle out the headlight, but it doesn't work that way. But oh well, that one bolt, and you still have to take off the subframe first. Okay, now that we have taken it out, just unplug most of them and most of the plugs, and we're going to swap out the lights from the old one to the new one. Screwdriver and these guys in. Taken off. That's good. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna, since we're here, we might as well take a look at some other stuff too. To make sure everything fits on the new one. Just gonna switch this one back in. This. Make sure they're aligned. Done. I'm gonna see if there's new bulbs for this guy. What I'm gonna do also is take the old grommets out. I'm not sure you can see this or not. The new one actually doesn't have, new housing set actually doesn't have grommets to keep the water moisture from going into it, which I think is kind of messed up. So I'm going to remove the grommets from the old one. This is a pretty important point because if the grommets weren't here, water would go into the housing, causing it to fog up or whatever. So I'm going to take these old grommets out, clean them a little, and put it into that one. Because this one already has a sealant. It seals with a light. The other ones don't. So let's hope that this is all, pretty tight and weatherproof. Kind of sad that it doesn't come with the grommets already, but still want to put the grommets in. Let's hope these guys fit. Something for that one. Okay, we got the new one installed, so here's the new one. Super clear. That's the new one. That's the old one. Kind of fuzzy and hazy, even though I cleaned it again, but I haven't put the sealant. But basically, yeah, that's the old one. That's the new one. Big difference. Big difference. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and work on this side now. So this one took a bit just to learn how everything was there, but The lights still work. I just put all the lights back in. This one I'm going to start working on now. Sounds great. Let's do this. It's the exact same thing, same bolts and everything. What I did find out that you really do need is a socket wrench that's at least has two extensions on it, and something to get into really tight angles, like a turn. And actually, I have this turning one that gets into really deep places, because you're needed for that one bolt inside there. It's really close in, and you really can't really see it, but that bolt in there really needs it. Anyways, I'm going to install the other one, and that's it.